The Light Can Help You team currently has 5 different service levels for residential lighting design. And why did we create 5? Well, because not all houses are the same, and not all clients are the same, and not all projects are the same. So what we want to do is always find the right balance between giving our clients enough lighting expertise without giving them too much lighting expertise. Because ultimately what that will also translate into is not giving our clients so much lighting that they can't afford it, or not giving them not enough lighting and having them be disappointed. So it's a bit of a balancing act. And our 5 services, Core, Essential, Signature, Signature Pro, and Unlimited, all have good lighting as a result. It's just really a question of how far you want to go with the lighting. A simple way to think about this is in terms of time and money, customization, those sorts of things. So if you want to think of Core as our fastest service, you can give us plans and get them back in as little as 2 to 3 weeks. That's fairly fast for a lighting design. If you have more time and want to get into more depth, then Unlimited, that can take 6 months to design. That just depends on how much time you want to spend, and also how large the project is and what your construction schedule is. So if electrical rough-in is tomorrow, well, you need at least a couple of weeks to do design at the core level and a couple of weeks to get fixtures. So it's tough, right? You need to know some of that construction schedule. Cost also, and this is cost for the design service. We use a term called illuminated square foot, which means basically anything that's under a roof, anything that's under a cover. That could be all the interior conditioned space, it could be exterior living areas, storage areas, garages, etc. So all of that fits into it. And for Core, it's usually around $1 or $2 a square foot at the low end, and at the high end and Unlimited, you could be talking as much as $8 a square foot, or even more if it's a penthouse in New York. Then in terms of the level of customization, the level of back and forth we have, the level of time we have to develop the customization of the lighting design to fit you, that also goes from low to high. So in Core, it's, we take some information in, we give it back to you. And in Unlimited, we can go around and around as many times as you want. So that's the broad overview. And now let's look at each of the individual services a little more closely. Core is our fastest and our most cost-effective because we let our dealer partners meet with you while our design team works in the background, reducing waiting time and delivering complete projects, like I said, in as little as 2 weeks. There's basically 3 steps. In the beginning, we're going to take information from you. Your dealer partner may meet with you, ask you some questions. They're going to gather that information and send it to us. And it's going to ask you questions about budget, design ideas, etc. And the more information you can give us, the better. If you have Pinterest books or house idea boards or clippings from magazines, all of that information, if you have things like that, send us as much as you possibly can. And then in as little as 2 weeks, our team will turn around and provide full drawings. So you'll get a set of lighting plans. They'll also show zoning for controls, dimensions on where to put it in each specific fixture type. There will be construction details. There'll be a list of every single fixture, cut sheets of each fixture type so you can see what those look like, and some installation details as well. So it's a fairly robust deliverable package to make sure that gets done. And then you get a revision after that. So once you have that in your hands, if you say, I'd like to change this, or I'd like to change that, or I'd like to shave a little bit more off the budget, etc., you can give that information back to us and we'll revise it and get it back to you. So Core, 2 to 3 weeks of design time. If there's revisions involved, of course, it takes a little bit longer. Typically about $1.25 a square foot is where that starts, and relatively low customization because we don't have as much back and forth. But it is a great solution when you just want some better lighting and you need it quickly. That's I think where Core's sweet spot is. Now, if you want to step up into designer-led meetings, so where our design team is meeting with you, then you want to step up into Essential. Essential has 3 different virtual meetings with our design team: the discover meeting, the design meeting, and the deliver meeting. And there's a lot more give and take in this, so there's a much higher degree of customization. In most of our services, in Essential, Signature, and Signature Pro for sure, we use a digital and online survey system. So we're going to ask you a bunch of questions. The more we get to know you, the better we're going to be able to recommend lighting solutions that fit you. So we want to get to know as much as we can about you, how you live, what's important to you, your values, how you entertain, all of those kinds of things we want to make sure we know. And then we'll get together in the Discover meeting. We use Zoom as our platform to have these virtual meetings so that you can be anywhere in the world and our designers can be anywhere in the world, and we can get together, and you can bring in your architects and your interior designers and your builders if you want, and no one has to take the time to drive and go anywhere. So virtual meetings is what we do for most of our meetings, and in that Discover meeting we'll look through the plans, and then we'll move into a design meeting where we actually have a lighting design for you. We'll have the plans, we'll have photographs of different suggested solutions, etc. So you can see like, oh, what is it they're suggesting? Uplights on columns, what does that look like? Well, here's a photo of what that might look like. So we'll get together and we'll talk through those plans. We'll talk through priorities and we'll talk through budget as well. But basically, we'll get to have a good conversation with you about the design, and then we'll be able to revise it. And before we move into the final step, the deliver step, we'll do another survey. So these repeat throughout the process, but they get shorter and shorter. We'll say, we'll ask you questions about budget once again, because we want you to actually say, here's the budget target that we're comfortable spending, because we want to design to make sure we fit that budget target. Otherwise, if you don't give us a budget target, I can guarantee you the budget will be too high. So we'll ask a few questions, and then we create the deliverable set similar to what you might find in Core. There's a few more deliverables in this, but consider it a robust paperwork package, multiple drawing sheets and detail sheets to let you know, let your builders know how to install it and what needs to come next. Essential typically takes 5 to 6 weeks in design time. If you need 3 or 4 weeks in between each meeting to consider it and to ponder it, then that will stretch out the design time, stretch out the calendar time. And generally starting about $1.75 a square foot, there are some minimums. That minimum is around $7,700. Varies a little bit on the size of the house. And then moderate customization, because you are getting to know us. Essential is great for projects with shorter timelines or tighter budgets, but when good lighting is still really important. Our middle service we call Signature, and we call it Signature because it's the one that put us on the map. It's really a unique midpoint between fast and full bore custom. It's kind of like the best of both worlds, or at least that's how we intended it. It has another meeting over Essential, so this one has 4 meetings with our design team: discover, design, develop, and deliver. And we have a very clear scope of what happens in each of those, so that we can deliver it on a fixed price. So there are no surprises. We start just like we do in Essential with some online surveys where we ask a bunch of questions to try and get to know you. We do a discover meeting similarly, and we work through the house a little bit differently in Signature, where we will take the time to prioritize the rooms and kind of figure out, where is it that you want to spend the most time? What spaces in the house are the most important to you? And we'll set up a tiered priority system so that we understand where to invest more time and where to invest more, where to recommend better lighting solutions than others. Then we will either use your 3D model, if your architects have created one, or if they haven't, we'll build one, so that we can go inside the house, inside the project, and see it from the way you're going to see it when you live there. This is a key critical difference of Signature. The digital sketching process that all of our designers use, we don't call it a rendering process, although sometimes our sketches look pretty good, like pretty good renderings. We call it a sketching process, and we do that because it's a little bit faster than rendering, and it allows us to try out a bunch of different ideas. It allows us to show you different ideas. It allows you to be a participant in the creation of the design of this. So we can say, oh, what does it look like if I try this? And our designers use this really to figure out solutions and to see how is it going to feel when you are in the space. So it's a fast and efficient way to share ideas with you. And in Signature, in our first design meeting, we'll pick 5 different spaces. We'll ask you to pick 5 different spaces for us to sketch, and we'll sketch those so that you can see them. And this helps you make decisions with confidence. And it helps us talk through complex lighting questions, such as choosing the right color temperature of light, which, for example, 2700 degrees Kelvin or 3000 degrees Kelvin may look wonderful at night, but during the day, that same color temperature might start to look yellow. So we can use the sketching process to discuss options for shifting the color temperatures based off of how you're going to live in the space, what daylight's going to do in the space, giving you the best possible light indoors. Similar to core and essential, there's a broad set of paperwork that comes out to help the installers purchase the right lights and get them installed in the right place, even scene setting guides to help the integrators set the levels. So there's a robust set of paperwork that comes with the Signature project. It's everything that you've seen before. It's detailed information. It's exactly what fixtures, how many of them. We'll give you detailed budget information as well on what the estimate, what those fixtures should cost. And we'll do lighting details. We've built many of our favorite details in 3D, so it's easier for installers to understand what we're talking about. We have documentation that helps figure out how wire sizing, for example, for running linear lighting or tape lighting throughout houses. So all of that, including decorative buying guides, if you need a little help choosing a chandelier and what to look for, how bright should it be, what kind of light should it output, we have a decorative buying guide for that. We have construction guides that say, oh yeah, this is some of the most common questions we would get from a builder or an installer. We've answered those, and we've put those together in a document to support the project, along with the scene setting guide that I mentioned in the essential process. That also has basic ideas for how to set the scene for different moments of the day, different times of the day. Signature, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is what put us on the map. It's what we're best known for, and it's the service that we do the most of. It seems to really fit that sweet spot between the middle. 6 to 8 weeks of design time. Again, if you are someone who needs a couple of weeks to really ponder the decisions, or you need to wait a little bit on the interior designer because they're still working on their piece, or you're taking a vacation for a month, this can stretch out from 6 to 8 weeks, but our work takes about 6 to 8 weeks, starting around $2.25 per square foot with about an $11,500 minimum. And it's much more customizable so that you can get some really, I think, gorgeous spaces. Now, Signature isn't right for everyone. We realize that in working with architects and interior designers, typically if they're engaged in the project, your project is going to another level. It's going to be customized to another level. It's going to be coordinated to another level, and it's going to need coordination to another level. So we've introduced Signature Pro. It's everything in our Signature process. So if you haven't watched the Signature process, look through that. It's all of that, but it has more time in it for coordination with your design team. So it has the same 4 steps: discover, design, develop, and deliver, but with more time for closer coordination. So it has extended design and develop meetings. We have up to 3 hours of additional meetings with your design team. So we'll go off and meet with your architect, or we'll go off and meet with your interior designer, so we can have those conversations and do those coordinations. And then up to 3 additional revisions of sketches or plans after those design meetings. So you may say, hey, I'd like for you to go meet with my interior designer, work some things out. Once you're happy with the lighting, come show it to us. Signature Pro is the right service for that because it's not restricted by the 4 meetings in the Signature process. It has a little more, so it's extended. 8 to 12 weeks of design time of time it takes us, plus whatever time you need to consider decisions or put the project on hold. And around $275 per square foot with a $14,000 minimum approximately, and extended customization, of course, with that. So that's Signature Pro. And up until now, all 4 of those services, Core, Essential, Signature, and Signature Pro, those are all fixed fee services, meaning You send us your plans, we'll take a look at it, and we'll meet, and we'll say, here's exactly what it's going to cost. And it won't cost any more as long as we stay within that scope. Now, some projects struggle to define the scope, or they're simply big enough and complex enough that it's impossible to predict, or the level of fit and finish is going to be higher than anything that is normal. And for that, we have what we would call our unlimited service. Unparalleled attention, you might say. It's called unlimited because it really is unlimited. It means we can meet as often as we want, as you want. We can revise as often as you want. We can coordinate with your interior designer or your architect or your builder or your electrical contractor as often as you want. It's our highest level of custom service, and it's delivered in an open-ended hourly contract. So we can respond yes to your every request instead of, no, I'm sorry, that's not in the budget. So the unlimited, yes, it is our most expensive for sure, but it also is the most flexible, and it's the most adaptable. And we try to keep on top of the budget. So every time we meet, we'll give you an update of where we are, how much money has been spent. We'll, of course, give you an estimate of what we think it's going to cost, and we'll measure ourselves against that all the way up. So at any point, you can say, okay, we need to speed this thing up so that we can finish, etc. That's all possible. Unlimited is great for those also who just like the idea of the signature service, but instead of seeing 5 spaces sketched, maybe you want to see 12 spaces sketched, or maybe you want to see 15 spaces sketched. Well, it's going to take more time for our designers to go through that, so we can do that in the unlimited process. It's also good if you say, well, we need you to design the guest house. We want you to design the guest house first because that's under construction now, and then we need to start over again and design the main house. And there will be some efficiencies there because we will know you by that point, but we're actually going to be asking the lighting design team to be doing 2 different phases on 2 different sections at once. It's almost like 2 projects. That's possible also through the unlimited. Or perhaps you just want the extraordinary. You just want something that will take a little more time to get right, or you want the renderings to go to the next level, or your project is right for never seen before custom details that surprise and delight the eye. From the largest exteriors to the finest interiors, unlimited is a solution for that. It takes about 3 to 6 months of design time. $4 and up per square foot. There's a $20,000 minimum on that. And it really, we can talk through the project. The more information you give us, the more accurate we can give you an estimate of what that's going to cost. And of course, the custom level of customization is truly unlimited. And unlimited stacks up there as the 5th service, the most expensive service. All of these, from core, the fast track to better light, to unlimited with unparalleled attention, you will get lighting that is significantly better than what is going to be delivered on most every project. That's because you're going to have a dedicated team of lighting professionals working and drawing all of that knowledge into your project. If you don't know the difference between lighting design and lighting layout, I encourage you to check out the lighting design section, which explains just how this is different and how the end results are different. A couple last questions. How do you choose? Time, budget, those are really good ways to choose how far you want, how engaged you want to be, how involved you want to be in the lighting, how far do you want to go. But there's other ways to think about that too. If you want to see your home sketched, so that digital sketching process, that's available in Signature Pro, and Unlimited. If you need a design super fast, that would be Core. If you want to meet directly with the design team, the lighting designers, that's Essential, Signature Pro, and Unlimited. If you want our team, the lighting designers, to meet with your architects and interior designers separately, that would be Signature Pro and Unlimited. If you need a fixed fee and a fixed scope, you say, I want it to be exactly this amount of money, and I want to know exactly what the steps are, that's great for Core, Essential, Signature, and Signature Pro. For limited designer-led meetings, Essential, Signature, and Signature Pro. So you get designer-led meetings, but they are confined to a certain number. And if you want maximum flexibility, that is the Unlimited service. We hope we can work with you.